Okay, I'm going to attempt to do it without my notes. But this is only my speech number 2, so technically I don't have to do that. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Summer loving happened so fast. Summer loving had me a blast. The summer of 2008 was the summer of love, or at least it was for me. Now, fellas, don't get your knickers in a knot. I'm still a single gal. However, I did experience a deeply committed relationship, not one of silly girl romance with bubblegum dreams. It was perfect. Those of you who know me best might have considered an affair, but that wouldn't be right. That would insinuate some sort of dirty thoughts. No, it was magical and beautiful. It was perfect. My first love was just going to have to tolerate and accept it. My heart was split between 2 sports. I now had 2 boyfriends and 6 girlfriends. It was the summer of rowing, the summer of champions. So let the racing begin. Discovery Day was our first race on our block, and it was like our pre-dance. We were all excited, and we wore team-colored ribbons in our hair to show some team spirit. We rode to a second-place finish, and we knew then we were about to create magic. Time trials was next, and the pressure was on to perform, as this was an important race prior to the St. John's Regatta, and the pressure we performed well under, and we posted the fastest time of the day, so now we were seated first place coming into the regatta. Placentia was our next race, and this was the first crown, so it was the first important race, I guess, of the season. We were chasing that jewel. Anyhow, the day was dark and dismal, but nothing could rain on our parade. We were pumped and ready to go. The race began, and it was a dogfight right from the start. We rode stroke for stroke with the competition, but that day we had traded in our team-colored ribbons, and we wore an olive-colored ribbon to represent our coach's mom, who had just been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer, and we were rowing for her. That championship race was dedicated towards her. So we wanted to win that for her. So no matter how much training you have under your belt, it doesn't matter if you can't row with your heart, or I guess in anything, compete with your heart. And that's what we did. The desire to win comes from within. And we rowed like champions because we rowed for olive. And that day we were placed the regatta champions of Placentia. We also set a course record. So life was good. However, with all romances, you can't tell if it's true love until you go to the dam. And Harbor Grace would be the test of true love. We easily won the morning race, qualifying for the championship race, so our confidence was definitely up. However, despite our substantial lead in the championship race, disaster struck. And about a minute into the race, I lost my oar. Don't laugh, Jenna. It was devastating for those who know my confidence level. I couldn't believe I was the one who actually lost my oar, and the sea was raging, and it shouldn't have been a red flag. For those of you who know rowing, red flag means no rowing, period. It should have been a black flag. However, my oar was underneath my boat, and as I struggled to get it back, I have a pre-injured shoulder, and it dislocated during the race. Disaster. And I put it back in, Lethal Weapon style, in the boat, in the race. Obviously, we fell to dead last place, but we rode then like, I guess, race champion horses, and we rode our hearts out, but we could only manage to get back up in the second place, and that's how we finished. So obviously, it was a devastating and crushing race, Harbor Grace, at least for me personally. I wasn't sure if our romance could handle it. I wasn't sure if I could handle it. But as true love would prevail, my team loved me anyways. And they worked with me for the next week and a half before the St. John's Regatta to get my confidence back up. They then reminded me of a famous sporting quote that either we heal as a team or we will die as individuals. So healing is what we chose as a team, and that's exactly what we did. This team was for better or for worse. Are you ready? Number 1. That's the start to any famous rowing race, if any of you know that. And it was the night before the Royal St. John's Regatta. We were very exuberant, and there was talks all over the pond of it being delayed, which, as you know, did happen. We had a 2-day rain delay and wind delay, which worked out great because by the time the Friday had come, it was a perfect day for rowers and spectators alike. Our final ribbon selection was complete. We changed our ribbons. We decided to keep the olive-colored ribbons for olive. We went with white as well for our coxswain's mother, who had lost her battle with cancer a few years prior. and then we wore pink for a very close family friend to the team. She had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. So we had our racing ribbons to go and our confidence back up. The first morning race was a dogfight, no doubt. It was stroke for stroke in that race with all 5 teams coming into the turn. We had a communication problem, unfortunately, and our bow side got out of sync with our stroke side, which is devastating in rowing. I shuddered thinking, oh my God, Harbour Grace is happening again. However, I stayed focused, and so did the team, and we managed to get back in sync, although we did lose substantial lead there. But that's when our coxswain hauled out our secret weapon, our 3-7s. We rode 7 big strokes for each ribbon in our hair for each inspirational lady. Those from the sideline said they didn't know what was going on in our boat, but they knew we had gone through some sort of problem on the turn, and then it was like an engine had appeared as we pulled away from the pack at the exact point that our coxswain had called our secret weapon. So we placed first in the morning race, which put us in good position coming into the show. The show is what rowers refer to as the championship race. So it began. This time we commanded the lead for the first time in our racing season, right from the beginning, and we never looked back. We once again used our secret weapon, our 3-7s, to continue on with our steam. That day, on 08-08-08, which, as luck would have it, was also the start of the Beijing Summer Olympics. I don't know if there's some sort of connection there. But we did become the St. John's Royal Regatta champions, and love was in the air as happy tears came down our faces. I looked at my number 2 oar and I told her that I loved her. And for those of you who've never felt real love, I can't explain how it feels. However, that is exactly what I felt. This love is for real. Summer lovin' had me a blast. Summer lovin' happened so fast. The best thing about this love is that it will last forever. This summer 2008 will always be the summer of love, the summer of champions. Thank you.